You check the locks before you sleep. You listen for the sounds outside. But what happens when the fear isn't outside your window, but inside the very system meant to protect you? In the heart of Banja Luka, Bosnia, a young man disappeared. The police called it an accident. His father called it murder, and a whole nation listened to the proof. Tonight, the case of David Dragičević, a death ruled accidental, yet one that awakened the entire country. It was March 2018. David Dragičević was just 21 years old, a bright, aspiring student of electrical engineering, a musician, a young man with his life still unwritten. Banja Luka, the second largest city in Bosnia and Herzegovina, was his home. It was a place of relative calm after the long shadow of the Balkan conflicts. David was, by all accounts, enjoying life, sharing a few beers with friends, and walking home in the early hours of Sunday, March 18th. His last known movements were simple, leaving a local nightclub, heading back to his father's house. But David never arrived. For days, his family was consumed by panic. His father, Davor, a military veteran, used his knowledge and tenacity to organize search parties, plastering the city with missing posters. He knew, with the chilling certainty only a parent can possess, that this was not a simple case of a student wandering off. On Saturday, March 24th, the search ended. David's body was found floating in the Crkvena River, a small tributary often used as an open sewer. His clothes were intact, his wallet with his ID, and some cash was still on him. A tragic, yet seemingly simple, drowning. But nothing about this case was simple. When Davor Dragičević arrived at the morgue, he saw things the official report missed, or perhaps chose to miss. His son's body was covered in severe bruising, injuries that were not consistent with a fall into a shallow stream. There were cuts to the soles of his feet, as if he had been dragged. His knuckles were bruised, a sign of struggle. Yet, the official statement from the Interior Ministry was swift and definitive. David's death was ruled an accidental drowning. The police press conference went further, claiming David had committed theft before his death, linking him to a local property break-in, and presenting a list of items allegedly found in his possession, including money, a USB stick, and a laptop. This narrative was not an investigation, it was an assassination of character. Davor instantly knew it was a fabrication. He took the fight to the streets. The official explanation, delivered with such cold certainty, had cracks wide enough for the public to see the darkness beneath. Davor stood in Crkvena Square, demanding the truth, challenging the police, the prosecutors, and the entire institutional structure of the Republika Srpska. His message was simple. If my son was a criminal, where is the evidence? If he drowned, why were there marks of torture? The case of David Dragičević quickly spiraled out of the control of the Banja Luka authorities. The key evidence in the police narrative, the supposed stolen items, was immediately questioned. Davor produced documents showing David's bank accounts were cleaned out after his death, not before. Witnesses came forward to challenge the police timeline. A second autopsy, demanded by the family, revealed that David had been assaulted before entering the water, confirming his father's suspicion of a violent MO. The initial accidental drowning was, in the words of the new forensic pathologist, impossible. The case was reclassified as a suspected murder, but no suspects were named, and no arrests were made. The real story was no longer just about David, it became about the impunity of power. Every night, Davor Dragičević led mass protests in Crkvena Square under the banner Pravda za Davida, Justice for David. Thousands, then tens of thousands, gathered in the heart of the city. It was the largest and most persistent public movement in post-war Bosnia. The Pravda za Davida movement alleged that the crime was not a simple street murder, but a state-level cover-up, implicating high-ranking officials. The authorities, they claimed, were more interested in protecting the perpetrator than finding justice for the victim. After months of relentless protests and pressure, the political establishment finally cracked down. In late 2018, Davor and other leading activists were arrested, and the memorials to David in Crkvena Square were destroyed by riot police. Davor was forced to flee the country, escaping what he called a direct threat to his life. Today, the murder of David Dragičević remains officially unsolved. The Prime Prosecutor's Office has named potential suspects, but no indictment has stuck. The file is passed from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, seemingly designed to gather dust and be forgotten. But you can't forget a voice that woke up a nation. The Pravda za Davida movement might be scattered, but its spirit lingers. A terrifying reminder that the greatest threat to life isn't the lone killer in the dark, but the silence of the state and the fear of those sworn to protect you. Stay safe. Stay awake. Don't forget to subscribe to Criminally Awake for more stories that steal your sleep.